to do what they're going to do. But it's Hi, Catherine. So nice to see
Hi.
you.
You too.
How's the wedding plans going?
Exciting.
Yeah, exactly. I know what
Yeah.
that's a euphemism for. Exciting is
It's next week.
Good friend David.
Hello.
Hi.
That's my good friend David. He's in recovery with me. We like to do streams together. You've seen him before.
You have a channel, David. Do you have a channel?
Yes.
I was trying to figure out what it was so I could.
Oh, it's just No Chaser. There's like if you just type my goofy last name and No Chaser,
how do you say your last name?
Isenoggle.
Here, I'm putting it in the chat again.
Isenoggle, yeah.
But the one good thing about my last name is that if you just put it with anything, where there was actually a contest I had going on because there was another more famous Isenoggle because there was a Scott Isenoggle who's married to one of the guys from Will and Grace. So I was like, it was my path to beat him out in the most famous Isenoggle, which
That's a great name.
He doesn't know he was in this competition.
Cool. It's like no one else has it. It's not like Smith or anything.
Oh yeah, it's totally
except in Germany, right?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It means iron nail, by the way. If I lived in Germany, my name would be David Iron Nail, which would sound awesome.
Yeah.
Instead, I just got in middle school.
Yeah, sorry.
I
need my ADHD that I don't really have.
Oh, can you not see it, Mitch? I can make it bigger somehow.
The comment you just put up and took down, it was from
Don, my friend Don.
Yeah, Don Lambert.
Don.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I just subscribed.
Who's she talking about? Who's
he was saying that lady that said that to you that was disappointing and that you're
I accept. Thank you, Don, but I'm not a recovering addict. I'm a fully recovered addict.
Well, some people
I think
don't know.
I know, but I think 50 years gives me the right to say that. Huh?
I'm a recovering former Scientology.
I get mad too, but they really just don't know because
I know. I don't take any offense to that.
No, sweetie.
Unfortunately, the Scientology mindset prevented me from really relating and identifying as a former addict, and which is really irresponsible because when you're able to recover from addiction, as I did, to the point where you feel you've returned to your pre-addiction days and you're no longer an addict, you kind of have a responsibility to talk to people that are still in the room and that are struggling. What the hell happened? Okay. I'm still live, but I don't know what happened to the other guys. So let's see what's going on. I think I'm going to have to give Lindsay a call and see what the hell's going on here, because this is a little crazy.
Oh shit! You can't hear me. That was my bad.
Okay, yeah. What happened? Did you did you push everybody? All of a sudden, I was like
off because I wanted to ask you a question because I thought what you were saying was really important, and
what I was saying was what I was saying was is that I went straight from addiction into Scientology, and I managed to recover from addiction.
Yes.
I never had a problem with substance abuse after that, which is not to Scientology's credit whatsoever. But so I never identified as a former addict or as a recovered addict, which is really irresponsible because we all need to help one another. If we can pull ourselves out of that morass, you have to look back and lend someone a hand. You just have to do it, or you're not living your best life. You need to say, look, I recovered. I mean, I get messages from people. I've thought about quitting YouTube and I get messages from people saying, hey, I'm a heroin addict. And I listen to your story and it really gave me hope. So that's the deal.
One question I have is so Scientology, correct me if I'm wrong. What I'm hearing you possibly say is that Scientology does not want you to identify as a former addict or alcoholic of any kind, or now or ever. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm going to answer that question, but I want to know about David and Catherine. What's happening with them? They're gone.
Yeah, you guys are coming back.
Okay. So the question is, it's not that. Yeah, the answer is it's not that they don't want you. Yeah, okay. It's not that they don't want you to identify with that. they want you to identify as a brand new person who is no longer that thing. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Which is I believe is what David. I'm just kidding.
What's up?
Hey, David, welcome back.
Welcome back.
But did you just hear what Mitch said about how they want you to identify? Say that again. The last
As a
sentence.
brand new person. Like, let's say that you were a spokesperson, you were doing work for Narcanon. In that case, it would be helpful for them, for you to identify yourself as a former addict. Short of that, they'd much rather have, they look, there's a film, one of the films I made for them, which is about an auditor who, it's kind of complicated. I'm not going to go into great detail, but she's an angel who descends into hell to rescue a young man who had done all kinds of unspeakable things, right? And he had made a promise to her to reform, right? And so at the end of the film, she leads him out of hell and he's all cleaned up. And she says, so how about that promise you made to reform? And he says, I don't need to reform. I'm a brand new person. And that's kind of the mindset. You get what I'm saying? Like you are gaslit into thinking that that's no longer part of your identity, but it is. Right. You will always be that thing. It's nothing to be ashamed of. So, you know, it's.
Yeah, like people aren't, we're not etch-a-sketches where you just like shake it up and then you're like, I'm new now. I have the
that's
things.
Right.
Like,
right.
You know,
I mean, exactly.
I was going to say, like, so for instance, you talk about going from the hell or heaven or whatever. When I talked about, I worked in case management.
Right.
I worked in child welfare. And I also worked in it's called Community Alliance here in Omaha, and it was for housing for the mentally ill. I worked as a case manager there. And the interesting thing is that you were given a choice whether you said whether you wanted to self-disclose if you struggled with mental health issues. If you did, it was interesting because it wasn't like there wasn't a set in stone rule about it. It was like either if you did, you could say you did because it would be appealing to the people that you worked with. You could give them hope as in like, hey, I'm doing this job. I'm functioning. You can too, because I've struggled with you as well. Or there was another side that thought like, well, I don't want the person who's running my stuff to struggle with mental illness. And it's just like that sort of like the stigma was there. And so it's an interesting thing about like how you identify on something that is a struggle that you deal with for your life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And somebody said here, and I really appreciate this comment. God, I just can't find it. Basically, it says, maybe you can help me, Lindsay. Oh, Lindsay, where'd you go?
Lindsay is
that some people walk away from their past and they never look back, but it's good to be there, for people. And I really appreciate that comment because it's for a long, long time, I did walk away from my past and I never looked back, at least my past as a youthful heroin addict. And, but eventually for me, it just catches up with you and you're like, wait a minute. I've never identified. Like once I was free of Scientology, I started looking at all the stuff, and and I'm like, wow, I never really identified with that period of my life. I just walked away from it, and Scientology, produced a miracle. And because honestly, once I was free of drugs, I wasn't resisting it. I didn't have any compulsion, anything. I could walk into a shooting gallery of junkies and it wouldn't bother me at all, like literally. But that's because I did the work. It's completely separate from Scientology, which I realized later. Like I had to do things to make that happen. So yeah, and then when I finally got out, I'm like, no, I'm going to reach a hand back to people who may have that same problem. And I'm going to say, listen, I'm an old dude and I did heroin when I was a kid and I've been clean ever since. And it's like, there is so much out there. There is just so much opportunity to, this is a solvable problem. You were not born a drug addict. You can get back to that point where you were before you were, but it takes some work. So, that was kind of my thing.
And here's one thing, Mitch, by the way, I just want to say it was Olivia on the go. It was
Yeah.
Some people move on from their past and never look back. No judgment there, but yeah, it's great to be there for others.
Yeah, and that's such a good comment, Olivia. Thank you so much. Because if you move on and you never look back and you live your best life, no judgment. It's just, for me, I had to, part of YouTube and part of reaching out to Lindsay when I discovered her was that I could connect with that part of my existence that,
we will never regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that one thing you had said, Mitch, about becoming or just the idea in general about getting back to the person that you were. A lot of people I know, and I consider this for myself, is that there was no person to go back to. Like I started drinking when I was 13. Like I don't know, remember. Maybe it's because of the drinking. Like I don't have a good memory, but I guess I went through puberty. That was a novel experience, but then other than that, I wasn't really a person yet. So there wasn't even there was I said that mantra in my head over and over again, like I want to go back to the old David. And I was like, what old David? You started this stuff when you were 13.
Wow.
Like there's no you to go back to. You have to actually form yourself as you were, the trajectory of your life for what it was supposed to be, or however you visualize it, what your actualization is. It's like you actually have to continue that road. There's not a you to go back to in some cases.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I was 15 the first time I did heroin, and
I was 15 when I joined Scientology.
Yeah, so and pretty much emotionally. When you start doing drugs and join a cult is where you kind of stop growing emotionally. 15's not a bad age to stop at, though. It's really not.
Yeah.
No.
A lot of fun stuff.
We stopped at 24, didn't we? Or 23 or 24?
Yeah, I was 23 when I stopped doing it. You and I stopped at the same age. We got onto it at about the same age. We stopped the same age. The difference is when I stopped, I'm just trying to think. When I stopped, I don't know. I'm probably your mom's age, so it's like
I don't remember how old my mom is.
That's fascinating because that's the age when you're creating yourself,
Is 23 or 15?
No. When you're 15, when you're a teenager,
totally.
you're figuring out who you are.
That's who I was. I was a kid who wanted to do heroin.
Wow.
I was figuring it out. But still, I had this idea. Maybe I just, it was like a construct. But I had this idea that I must have been something before I was that, because I remember kind of becoming that. I remember leaning into a kind of a mindset where I wanted to do that. So I just had this idea that there was something there before that, and I really strove to kind of try to embrace that and return to it, even though I was really young when that happened.
Well, I think it was fascinating. It was brought up that someone brought up, or Ivar, I don't know why I said someone. Ivar brought up, I was 15 when I got my learner's permit. I think 15, it's almost like a metaphorical way you could look at it, as you have this freedom to kind of do whatever you want. I think 15 is that weird sort of age, because that's when I first drank when I was 13. I got addicted to opiates when I was 15 as well. I remember it sophomore year, and it was something about
crazy.
It's something about maybe, I don't know, the car, or just something where you've been through your freshman year. So you've been through orientation in a sense. I mean, for the most part, everybody has a different sort of life experience about how they go through things. But I always thought of the fact that I never really fully formed what I was going to be. And so in this sense, it was kind of longing for a dream of something that never actually ever happened. Mm-hmm. I thought that there was this me that I could go back to. There's this quote I think is interesting. I don't know if I agree with it, but it's that we experience the world in childhood, and then we look at the world, and the rest is memory. You just see it once, and it's not that your childhood forms everything, but it's just everything else becomes a memory from that. And I don't know if I agree with that, but I was you talked, Mitch, about how you were a person forming yourself up to that age. And I think about it, and I just think I was much more lost. I dealt with depression when I was in 6th grade, and I just was lost. So I was like kind of this thing where it was like, you know, getting sober wasn't like, oh, I'm back to old Dave, or like I can go back to where you know, I was young or innocent or anything like that. It was a sense of like, okay, now that you're sober, you have to start becoming yourself, which was insane to do because
Yes.
I did that at like 23. I did that at like 27. I did that at like, you know, like it just
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
It's fascinating.
It's so hard. And all of our 4 stories have so much in common because of the cult narcissistic relationships, all the coercive control stuff. Addiction is a type of coercive control, if you ask me. All of it is very similar feelings. I think I'm not judging one as, I'm not saying like like judging or comparing. I'm saying that they all have similar characteristics that we could all help each other with, even though we haven't been through the same substances or the same exact experiences. We could still be there for each other and know exactly probably how to help each other through it.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
think
the parallels are amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think the one, I mean, the one common element to me is vulnerability. And
Yes.
the vulnerability is driven by trauma. And so you may have these different outcomes. You may have, you know, whatever, drugs or a cult or both.
Yeah.
I'm the bridge between addiction and cult life. But yeah, to me, it's vulnerability. It's a very high level of vulnerability that is driven by trauma. And, you know, building self-awareness about that is a way of healing that trauma. It's a lot of work, man. Looking at yourself in a mirror, it's like, you know, I spent decades in Scientology where you're looking at a fake concept of yourself that doesn't even exist, and you know, you build a reality around this fake concept.
or you're striving for something that you're never gonna get.
You're never going to
That's
get.
what I
But,
felt like. I was
yeah,
like,
but
okay, someday I'll get there.
No, you never get. Yeah, you're never going to
No,
get there. But also,
never gonna get there.
in order to buy into that, you have to buy into the fact that you're an eternal spiritual being called a thetan, that your body, at some point, you're going to learn your body is inhabited by entities from 72 trillion years ago that, you know, went through some horrible, horrific, cataclysmic event. You're going to buy all this crazy stuff, which is not your identity. So you're not ever really looking at yourself. But you do spend a lot of time in Scientology judging others and judging the world.
Yeah.
But never looking at yourself. And
Really?
the real world. Oh yeah, Scientology is all. Catherine will tell you, it's all about judging people.
Yeah.
Everything is a judgment, and you're judged.
That's
You're
true.
even judged about how you judge. Like, let's say you're a person like Catherine, and they have juniors that work under them, and we've all gotten in trouble because we weren't hard enough on our juniors, which is really we're being judged for how we judge people. It's just layers of judgment.
Yeah, and when you're in the Sea Org or when you're on staff, you're not allowed to spend a lot of time reflecting on yourself or thinking about yourself.
Keep busy.
No, that would
Like,
no. That's a that. What is that? That's
if you
like
go in session, you can. Supposedly,
Yeah.
when you go in session, you can, but not really, because you're still.
Did they really let
still
you
yours.
express your true feelings, or was it that you knew that you had to say certain things?
Oh, in session?
Auditing.
You can express yourself, but
with the censorship, sort of.
God, describing auditing is really.
I know it's weird.
It's a complicated thing.
Yeah, but
it's nothing like going to a psychologist. I got some
no, it's hypnotism combined with biofeedback.
I got some therapy when I first got out.
That's what
and it was fascinating. I'm like, wow, this is nothing like auditing. This is like a real conversation.
Yeah,
with a real person.
I had
what I say.
Yeah, I had a life-ruining problem that I carried all the way through Scientology, and it was gone within months with therapy. Like, it is that traumatic. Like the lie that Scientologists are told about therapy, which is for the most part done right. It's a spiritual process. The lie that they are told is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, just that alone, like if you lied to people about their physical health, you'd probably go to jail. The way they lie about their mental health.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so wild. I have so many questions that I just forgot. I was starting to write down, but you guys got me so intrigued.
Well, I was gonna say, like, one thing I thought was interesting was that, some people in terms of like addiction, and it could be in terms of like how you get indoctrinated, into something like Scientology.
Yes.
And let's say you weren't just indoctrinated because you were like brought up in literally, but like you were like maybe like you chose to go into it in a sense that like you were not chose, but anyways, let me put this out here. I believe that like some people think that there is the quote reason that they use or drink. And people spend a lot of time in finding like, the therapy and things like trauma or mental illness or the circumstances that were their life. And all of that, it obviously plays a part, and it exacerbates it immensely. But I think, just of my own perspective, which by the way, I'm just some guy in a basement in Nebraska, but not a basement, but
okay. I was going to say,
I just like saying a guy in a basement, but no, I'm saying that I think, as far as addiction goes, or as far as like when you're like within, tell me if I'm wrong as far as being in Scientology, but as far as addiction goes, whatever reason you like got to using drugs or alcohol, once it's hijacked your brain, it no longer matters what the reason you were using it. Because I think some people strive so hard, they want that like Goodwill Hunting moment where it like breaks them and they find the answer and they go, oh, it was because my, dad didn't love me, or because this thing happened. And now that I've like solved that will solve my drinking or using. And it's just like, your brain's hijacked. So it's still going to work off this thing, even if you try to solve the reason. But it's so much nicer to think that there's just a reason, like the circumstances you were brought up in, your environment, you were lost on the way to college, like whatever it may have been. But it hijacks your brain, and it's almost like the great equalizer in that sense, where everybody comes in, they can all come from different directions, but hijack brain, it doesn't matter why. Like,
wow.
No, you're right. That's such a good point, because it's organically takes on a life of its own, completely separate from the reasons why you got there. I mean, but the thing is, but don't you think, David, that once you quit, because this was, like for me, I was pretty singularly interested in one drug. So, I could focus on that. But once that particular drug, and I'm sure Lindsay would agree with this, you're talking 3-4 days of a bad flu. And then you're done. But you're left with all of the wreckage, really, of why you did get there. So the why you did get there, it is there, and it does need to be, I think, unpacked and addressed.
I would say, one thing is, I would say the physical. I would rather do the physical, because I was addicted to opiates. I had to go through methadone withdrawals and alcohol withdrawals. I did it all. But I would say the physical ones, even though they were horrendous, I would take those. I would take those any day over the mental ones that like
any day. Any day. We're all agreed.
That's sort of
all those who agree with David put their hand up. So,
any damn day, bro.
Yeah, any damn day.
So sorry. What I was going to say about is that reason why you started. I used to think that maybe it was solving that something that had happened in the past, but for me, this is just for me. I think the only way for me to stay sober and to keep like living my life, and not just be sober. I'm not going to live life just to be sober. I just want to live my life.
Right.
But the only way I'm able to do that is about things in the future, less than things in the past. Now that's coming from a person that obviously people deal with trauma, and they deal with things that have occurred in their life. But I think you have to get sober to even begin to deal with
Right.
Trying to do those at the same time is basically, it's like whenever I like did anything creatively under the influence, whether it was stand-up or writing or anything, I'd always think that like I can do this at this time and it will be okay. And it's just like it would always turn out to be a mess. It would always turn out to be bad. And that was the same thing with therapy or whatever I did. If I was still drinking, nothing could be solved ever.
Right.
Sorry, no,
I'm curious, because I've never I've never done any sort of drugs. I've drank a little bit. I've hardly even been like drunk, but in my whole life, right?
Well,
even
just wait till your
before I was in
wedding,
Scientology.
Catherine.
No, don't.
We're actually not. It's actually not alcoholic.
That's good.
You're having a non-alcoholic wedding. Great. That's
Yeah.
great.
But
Also, you'll save a lot of money too.
right. Yeah, that's the main reason, actually.
Yeah.
But I just have a question because I was talking to somebody the other day and I was like, okay, there's so much information now out about how horrible Scientology is and all these experiences, bad experiences people have had and things going on in the present and things that have happened in the past, all this stuff out there that wasn't available when I joined in 1992. There was no internet. There was no nothing. So I'm like, okay, so I wonder to myself, okay, would I get involved now if I hadn't then with all the information that's out there? I'm like, I don't think I would. But then I wonder about people who get addicted to various things. Like,
yes,
like there is information out there about how bad it is. There's plenty of testimonials, plenty of like, okay, this is horrible. Plenty of doctors saying this will kill you. Plenty of people saying this will mess up your life.
Yeah.
It's not good for your mental health.
Despite that, like, what is the draw? I guess for
you got this, David.
I'm sorry. If I'm talking too much, I apologize. I just
no.
I knew where you're going with this, and I was so like happy you went here because it is that idea where we always do this, where as you're an individual, you only think as a space of I am different from everyone else. Like you see patterns and you see statistics and you see all that stuff. And it's like, yes, that happens to those people. It's kind of like why people like start smoking cigarettes. They go, here's my cancer stick. And they know that smoking causes cancer. Yet so many people, I guarantee if you hooked them up to a lie detector, they would go, do you think you're going to get cancer? And they'd be like, no. Like just
well,
in
not me. The cancer is the other guy's disease.
Yes, there's this thing where, of course, nobody nobody thinks that I'm going to beat a heroin addiction when you start out in it. Like nobody even thinks of getting addicted in the first place.
Yeah.
But the thing is that what happens as an individual is that it's never like it's shown in the movies or in media or anything like that at all. It's never a singular decision that you make. All of it is just little things that build up to it. It's just tiny little things that like build you up into the addiction. It's not like, in the stupid Dare commercials or whatever, it'd be like a guy in a trench coat. Like you want this like needles over here and then like, I don't know, gold chains on the other sleeve, whatever. Like it's never just this one choice. It's always a slow building thing where you just make a little push to something else and you excuse it and you justify it. And you make a little push to something else. And like, just for instance, like it could be when I first drank, the first time I drank in the morning, just as like, I didn't think I was like, oh my God, David, you're drinking in the morning now. It was just, no, I was like, dude, I got to get to work and my hands are like really shaky. I have a little bit of left. I mean, I'm still a little bit drunk in the morning too. It's just like, kind of like, I guess I'll just take a few nips. Just, okay. That put me back. Just, that was a crazy night. Too much last night. That's it. That little push. It's like that instead of just a big decision of like, I'm going to be an alcoholic or I'm going to try meth for the first time. Because after that point, when I started drinking in the morning, I didn't do it the next day or the day after that, but I did it again. And then I did it closer. And all of a sudden, once you fly first class, you don't go back to coach. Except first class is drinking in the morning, I guess. Sorry. Anyways, but you understand the point.
Except if you're poor, no.
Or 4, 7, 8 a.m. around the clock kind of thing.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just like my whole point is that like you're an individual in your mind where you have you have the thing where you go, I'm different from other people just based on your own, like I'm going to do it differently. Yeah. And 2, these things are so incremental. It's not one big decision that gets you into the addiction. It's just these little things that push you. You have like a heartbreak or a hardship or something happens in your life and you go, I'm not like using because I'm a a junkie or anything. I need to feel relief. I need some relief. This pain is too much. Like I understand that this is a special occasion because I need this relief. And I'm not like shooting up like one of those people. I just I need to like get over this like thing that happened to me. And I just so happen I only have enough, I can't ingest it anymore because my tolerance is high. So I'll just shoot up just once. I swear, just once, because I just need this relief for this moment.
Wow.
And it's just a special occasion. And that is it.
Exactly what happened to
wow.
to a T.
That's fascinating because it's kind of similar, and Mitch will agree with me. If you walk into a Scientology organization, you're gonna find the nicest people you will ever meet. And you're gonna be like, wow, this is nothing like I read about or nothing like I saw. Like you guys are really cool.
They care about you.
Not
they
like they're gonna be like
they have your absolutely. It's called love bombing.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the problem is that like you don't want to have a dare program like the drug and like go to a school and be like, hey kids, when you do drugs, it feels really fucking cool, because you don't want to entice them. But the problem is if you don't say that part, it's just like that Scientology thing where you go there and you go, this is not like what any of them had said it would be. When you first start doing like things like ecstasy or you try like opiates or something, it feels really good. And you're not thinking about like the junkies or like the rehab.
That's how my friend Alex Barnes Ross got involved in Scientology. He heard all this bad stuff and he's like, I want to find out what this really is. And he went in and this is like this, and he's like, this is nothing like they say it is. And then he got involved and it went badly and he got out, of course, but
they got him though for how?
Yeah, this was years ago. Yeah, this was years ago when he first got.
When he was a kid.
Yeah, when he was a kid.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to tell you, for me, it was pretty sudden, David. Like almost the incremental stuff, I almost don't even remember. Like I have a very clear picture of one day. I would say a pretty intense case of teenage angst, whatever that really is. But it's because when you're 15, you're really, if you don't have a lot of anxiety, you're not trying to work things out. You're probably a really boring, uninteresting person. And I remember just making this decision. We were all doing a lot of drugs and smoking weed and dropping maybe some acid or peyote or something. It was it was the 60s, and I grew up in Laurel Canyon. It was like the ground zero for the whole music and drug culture. And it was kind of like, I want to do this. Like I wanted that to be part of my identity. Like I sought it out. My friends weren't doing it. I went and found some dude, and I'm like, I want to do some, and I knew he was a junkie, and I'm like, I want to do some heroin. And that was it. It was like, it was such a cool thing to do. It was like, look at me, I'm a badass. And I was a pretty shy kid. I mean, I wasn't like the center of attention kind of a person.
I was going to say, it's not like I wasn't saying you don't get hooked in. I remember the first time, my first opiate high, how that changed everything in my brain. That was a seminal moment. I was talking more of like when Catherine brought up basically the like correct question of like, everything tells you this shit is bad. Yeah. Why do you do it? How do you justify doing it in your brain? How can you?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Be a pure.
You're on a trajectory, right? You put yourself on this trajectory. I mean, I think pretty much everybody pukes the first time they do heroin. I mean, you get pretty sick. Like that's the thing that always amazed me is like, how did we carry on after that? So many people do heroin and they're never do it again. Because you really get sick. You're puking your guts up. You're
for once or twice.
But it was like me.
Yeah, exactly. But still, you have to get past that once or twice.
Push yourself, because if you want it that bad enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, Scientology has an explanation for why people want to take drugs like that. You know what I'm talking about, Mitch, right?
No, say that again.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Scientology has an explanation for why people want to take hardcore drugs like that.
Why?
Like the chemical. Remember when it talks about like the chemical personality, like they're seeking the same high you get, like from like being a clear or a release or whatever, like basically getting rid of your reactive mind feels like
being like God.
No, not. Whoops.
But as explained with other people.
Yeah, I lost my light.
But do you know what I'm trying to say, David? Explain that again, and then David might understand what I'm trying to say as an AA talk.
Oh, basically so in Scientology you learn like if somebody is susceptible to like taking drugs or becoming an addict or whatever, they're seeking the same high or the same feeling you get in Scientology when you do certain auditing, and that's why they took drugs in the first place.
Which makes them feel full. Does it make them feel?
Makes them feel I don't know.
Well, people are okay. So people are okay. Let me break this down.
Yeah, bitch can describe this.
People are seeking what Hubbard referred to as release, and release means release. 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 Release means you're disconnected. Yeah, exactly. You're released from the reactive mind. I mean, you've moved away from. You're not clear, but you've moved out of it. Think of it, if your reactive mind was a car and you were driving the car, you stopped the car and you got out of it. That's literally his metaphor, which is the stupidest visual metaphor you could possibly imagine. So the point is that to Hubbard, the way he described it is drugs give you what's called a fake release. In other words, they trick you into thinking you separated from the reactive mind, but you didn't. And then what happens is when you come down off the drugs, you go into the reactive mind really hard and you have this kind of crash. I forget what it's called, right? That going back into so, and the thing is, it's not divorced from reality, because the fact is you do come down hard, right? But
it could relate to a lot.
Yeah, but he related it. He said what you're really seeking is release from the reactive mind, which is bullshit, because there's no such thing as a reactive mind. It's a complete lie and a con and a con. You get what I'm saying? So you're like, oh, so you want to believe it because there's truth in the fact that you are trying to separate yourself out from something. We're all self-medicating.
But you can't separate yourself away from it.
No, you never do. You never do.
God, what a douchebag. He just took something that actually happens for other reasons and then just made it like this thing.
Exactly.
Like,
no, there's so much of that in Scientology. It's just like
me of B. Wilson in a little bit of ways.
What? What's B. Wilson?
I'll tell you later. I can't say it on here.
Okay.
I'll have to talk to you about that too.
Yeah. Not like in the same context like evil or anything. Just with a lot of the certain things. I'll explain it to you later.
That's good.
I would get in trouble if I said it on here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all.
I get it.
Spicy, muy caliente.
We would be in big trouble.
I don't think big trouble, but anyways, we should probably stop.
Yeah.
You have clown paintings. Too many. Because you have more than one.
Oh, well, I'm going to change it up. I just like to buy stuff. I have a whole bunch of cool stuff.
It is cool, though, actually. You
like creepy
clowns. I'm going to move it
in
a couple of days anyways.
You're what? You're moving?
No, I'll move my clown pictures.
Oh, yeah. You need more clown pictures. Is that a working Pac-Man console?
I have 2 of them. I want a slot machine.
I am so jealous.
And a pinball machine.
I'm just so jealous.
When I was younger.
I love it.
Wait, you have 2 Pac-Man?
Yeah, I got one in the box that accidentally got sent.
Okay, because I was like, why? Because like, there's one that you do like on certain days and one you do on the other days, or
no, I just have not built it, and I'm not. There's no reason to right now. I am ready to fall asleep, you guys.
Yeah, it's late back there. What are you doing?
Oh yeah, you're on the East Coast. I always forget about that.
Yeah,
what's today? I got work tomorrow. Fuck.
Today is the first day of the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know who said that?
No.
Charles Dietrich from Synanon.
Oh my God. Was that? Yeah.
We were
talking
about
that. Sorry. That's a whole.
No, it's okay. That's crazy.
We were all just talking about that too.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
That's
you want to help me do that on it?
Addiction wrapped into one.
Do you want to help me do a report on it?
On Synanon?
Yeah, all you guys.
I went there once, not as a.
Seriously?
I don't know what is.
No. I went there when I was in film school. I was dating a girl who was whose uncle. She was very close with her uncle. Her uncle was a heroin addict, and I was a few years out from heroin. But I knew a lot of people that went to Synanon. I thought about going there, except it was rumored to be a cult. So I just went to a run-of-the-mill shitty.
How ironic.
I know. Don't even get me started. We're going to play the Mitch Brisker mentions his book all the time, Drinking Game. I wrote about that in my book, about how ironic that was.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's like.
Yeah, it's like, no, that's a cult. I'm just going to go out to a shitty garden variety rehab in Sylmar, California, run by some ex-con criminal because I just need to clean up and get back into college. But anyway, so I was clean and quite clean, and I was dating this girl, and her uncle was a Synanon. She said, "Hey, we were going on a date." She's like, "Look, come with me. I'm going to go visit my uncle. It's like visiting night at Synanon." I'm like, "Cool." So I had no compunction about going whatsoever. But I went there and somebody recognized me, somebody that I'd probably done drugs with.
Whoa.
Years before. And someone came up to me and says, "You got to go because, you've been identified as being a junkie." It was really cold.
What is Synanon?
Okay. Synanon was a very famous rehab. You actually, there's a documentary on HBO about it right now, but if you really want to it's a shitty documentary. It's not any good. If you want to really find out about it, Robert Downey Jr. and his wife have a podcast company, and they did a podcast about it that's on Apple. And it started out as, it was one of the most successful alcohol and heroin rehabs. They had a huge 4-story building on the beach in Santa Monica. Scientology wishes it had that. They at some point had tax exemption. They were a socialite darling. They had people like Leonard Nimoy going out there on weekends and giving acting lessons. They had wealthy people from LA selling their houses and moving into Synanon because they wanted to they wanted to share in the lifestyle. This place was national news, and slowly they evolved into one of the most viciously armed cults. At one point, they made the biggest arms purchase of any private organization, private arms. It was something like over 60 guns they bought in one day. They had a lawyer who was blowing the whistle. There was an attorney blowing the whistle on them, and they very famously put a rattlesnake through his mail slot.
Yes.
And the guy he survived, and a couple of people went to prison. When was this?
Yeah.
The rattlesnake thing was probably in the 70s.
Yeah.
Wow.
They started in the late 50s. They were started by this guy, Ken Dietrich, who I just found out said today's the first day of the rest of your life. And they did crazy things. They had
I know, he's the one who pointed it, Charles Dietrich.
Yeah, like all of a sudden the women all shaved their heads and they all divorced their husbands and got with different people because Dietrich decided to. They became the most craziest, unhinged. Bunch of them went to prison. The whole thing fell apart. Dietrich died. But the podcast on Apple is fantastic. It's really well produced. I think Robert Downey Jr. has this company because it's a feeder for film ideas. But they do great work.
Yeah, I figured, Mitch, with your background, you would be very familiar with that because
it was an LA phenomena. I mean, they had a facility here, and then they had another facility somewhere in Northern California where they had an airport. They had shit that would make David Miscavige jealous. Like one of the nicest properties on the beach in Santa Monica. There was no, what's it called? Not in my NIMBY. There was no, not in my backyard. There was none of that. Like the wealthy people in Santa Monica did not mind having Synanon there because they had such a great reputation. Usually nobody wants a rehab. 2 things people don't want in their neighborhood. Well, 3 things. They don't want a prison. They don't want a nuclear reactor, and they don't want a rehab.
And they don't want a Church of Scientology.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, actually, yeah, but at least
I was going to say a fire station, but
really? Oh, yeah, I guess because
firemen are cool.
Just because of the noise.
Because of the noise, yeah.
Right.
Well, I guess we can add airport. We're going to have a whole list.
Right. Yeah, I might be like, man, I don't think they may be mentally destroying people over there, but I can sleep in on Sundays. That airport, that's bad business.
Yeah.
That hurts my sleepies.
I don't know where our host went, but I have to go. I'm starving. I haven't eaten.
I think she fell asleep.
Where are you guys from?
I'm in LA. Okay, here.
I'm in Oregon.
Nice.
You can't see this. It's on Apple. I just want to tell you, it's called The Sunshine Place. And it is a fantastic podcast series produced by Robert Downey Jr. and his wife's company. I highly recommend it. It's a great piece of entertainment, great piece of true crime. And anyway, so
that's great.
Cool. Well, I mean, class can't be dismissed until the teacher comes back, I guess. Right?
Yeah, we can all just bail, and then when she came back,
I will. If need be, I will.
This is the time when we all need like clown masks that we could put.
Oh, I know, right? Or we just we all have like those horse head masks.
Yeah,
and exactly. She comes back.
I have an Italian mask somewhere. An Italian.
Yeah, I have. I don't
know where it is. That place is a mess.
I have a bunch of great like ugly Christmas sweaters, but as far as costumes go,
absolutely do something to her.
Oh, let me see.
I don't have anything.
Dang it!
I'm a big dolphin.
I should put my cat here.
Yeah. Instead of you.
Hey y'all, I'm just getting ready for bed. I'm cleaning up.
Okay,
we were all going to put on clown masks.
Hey, Lindsay,
Yeah.
I think you need to bring this to a controlled landing, and maybe before you do, we could do a little go around and remind everybody to support Lindsay, subscribe to her channel, and hit the like button, because that helps YouTube to get the message out. And
subscribe to my channel too, and Mitch's.
Yeah, and then I'm getting to that. I was going to save you the trouble.
Sorry.
And let's do that for the rest of us, because we're all here. We're all here to tell our stories. We're not here as part of a network. That's all I'm going to say.
A network of support of any kind.
Yeah, well, yeah,
all kinds.
Yeah, exactly.
Friendship.
So yeah, if you would subscribe to us, and you can find me at Scientology: The Big Lie, and like that. And David, what's the name of your channel?
Oh, my channel is No Chaser. Actually, the big thing though is I co-host a podcast called Shoeless in South Dakota. We do interviews with not celebrities. We could but we do interviews with the average person that's still in the midst of addiction or just getting out of addiction. And then also most of the episodes are me and my friend talking about our own struggles with stuff and sometimes aliens.
So that sounds, I'm going to check that out. That sounds fantastic. Okay, great. So
put your stuff in the chat.
Subscribe to me too, please.
Put your stuff in the chat because they will lose it.
Oh. I don't know. I think mine is just.
You can always add it later, maybe.
Mine's really easy to find.
I didn't read all the comments.
Check out my Etsy store with my photos too.
And then you guys, I do not know how to do this. Maybe Mitch knows, but I have a subscription service now with 3 different tiers on here. Membership service. If you would like to join, that's one for like $1.99 or $2.99. I don't know, is the cheapest. And then the other one is like $7.99. The other one's $25, I believe, for everything. And then I also have super chats and super stickers available. And I believe the rest of these fine people do too as well.
Yeah. And I have a book on Amazon.
Yes. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And Barnes and Noble.
Yeah. Wherever fine books are sold, you can order it.
He's working on Audible now.
Yeah. I just completed chapter 14. It's speeding up. So I think there's 24 chapters total. So hopefully that'll be done before my landlord kicks me out for not paying my rent.
Oh,
that was a joke.
Anyway,
yeah, I should say
my withholds. I have to.
Yeah, no,
I have to.
Don't worry about it. I'm sorry, Catherine.
Hey, we don't talk about withholds anymore, little lady.
Just kidding.
Yeah, so
I only said that because I knew he would know exactly what I was talking about.
I do. So I should explain the reason I'm hiding out under a bunk bed surrounded by sound blankets. This is my recording booth.
It looks cool,
and I'm just too lazy.
Cool,
I'm too lazy
to. Space.
Yeah, I dressed it up. I put some.
I think it's cool.
I put some.
You know.
So that's a real metal film reel from Golden Era Productions, because when they got rid of all their film equipment, they were like selling it or something. And I went, up, I'm taking this reel. And of course they said, sure, Mitch, anything you want. So that's a genuine metal, anyway, whatever, film reel. And those are a couple of Clio awards that I won back when I was a real boy, before I worked for Scientology. Anyway, so yeah.
I might have to stay up a little later now.
Why?
Well, about the hat, we were gonna all wear like masks.
Yeah, we were all gonna. Yeah,
I don't know.
All I
I
had
have
was
some really good hats.
or else at least we all put like really red lipstick on, the same color as Lindsay.
You got sunglasses, nice. I got this hat.
No, this is orange.
Like a leprechaun hat or Willy Wonka, however you want to.
That's cool. I like that.
Okay.
All right.
Apparently, poor Aaron needs defending from Stephanie.
Oh God.
Marianne was furious. Mitch did cooler things. All right. Eva, I'm gonna take care of this. So Eva, can I call you?
God.
This is what it was gonna be on the beginning, but I was just waiting for some to come out.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can't handle themselves.
Go ahead.
I'm not gonna bring you into it.
Oh yeah, please don't. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Shut your ass.
No,
unless
I'm
you wanted to be in it and talk shit, but I get a little.
No, I won't talk shit. I mean, if I think there's the potential to avoid a person being victimized, I'll speak out. If I think somebody really needs to be held accountable. Yeah, if I think someone needs to be held accountable, not for accountability's sake, but because it could help to avoid someone being victimized in the future, I'll speak out.
You know what? So we're going to end this stream. And then if we want to start another one, whoever wants to be in the next one.
Oh, we're not going to talk about Nora? No, never mind.
No, we will in the next one, but I'm trying to learn how to end them so that they don't go on for hours and hours and hours.
That makes sense.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. So, anyone want to join? Because I do have.
Yeah, I'll join. I have to
go. I'll join you after I get married and stuff.
When is your wedding?
It's next week.
I want pictures, damn it. Screenshot it. I wish I could come. Where is it?
It's in Oregon. No, it's in Oregon. Silver Falls.
Take some pics.
Oh, there'll be plenty of pictures. Don't worry.
I'll send my Vegas pictures to you guys.
Okay, good.
Okay, hold on, Raven. All right, boo-boos. I love you all.
Nice meeting you.
I'm not
you too.
Nice to meet you, David.
Yeah, you too.
I really, these are my,
David.
Like, I've made all these people as my friends just from online, and like they're like my best friends. It's so cute. Like,
I love connecting with people like this. I think it's
one of
really
the
cool.
It's one of the.
That's one of the great things about being out of Scientology is that you can talk to whoever the fuck you want to talk to.
Yeah, about whatever the fuck you want to talk about.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish you guys lived closer, or like I did have one of my friends that I met on Twitter come down here when he was for work, and we hung out and we made a podcast together.
That's cool.
I'm going to LA.
When? Yes, when?
I don't know. When's the cheap flights?
Yeah, I have 4 friends in my time zone. Okay. Oh no, wait a minute.
What
if
does
I
that
add no, Catherine and John. So that I have 6 friends because we're in the same time zone.
I'm confused.
And I have maybe 3 friends in LA.
I want to go to Vegas. How about fuck it? You want to meet me in Vegas? You're only 3.5 hours, 4 hours away, and then I'll come that way.
Yeah, I'll drive, and then I'll drive you back to LA. We'll have a great time. I have a little convertible. It'll be fun. We'll go through the desert, top down, drive back at night.
And then come on to Nebraska where all the cool stuff happens.
Yeah, it'll be better than
it'll
be better than drugs.
Yeah, you get.
I love Vegas. I'm going to Vegas. I'm finna stay there. They love me, baby, and I don't.
I'm sure they do.
I met Ron Jeremy there. Oh my god, I shouldn't say this. Ron Jeremy.
I met Ron Jeremy once. I felt like I wanted to take a shower.
Too?
Huh? What? Did he what?
Did you?
He's the rudest motherfucker I ever met. Okay.
He put his hand over his shorts and said, "Look, I can get hard."
Wow.
Yeah, he's in prison. He's in prison now.
For that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, he tried to get me up to go to his room, and I ran, and then I met Pantera dude that died. But yeah, I ran from him.
You met Dimebag Daryl?
Yeah, I met him I met him at a
The other
party.
one.
I met him
Yeah.
at a party at some Russian producer's birthday party, and he was and I walked up next to him with my phone, and I'm like, I'm gonna take a selfie, right? And
Yeah.
he was just so fucking rude, and I did it because I wanted to send.
Ron
I
Jeremy.
wanted to punk
like-
my kid and send him a selfie of me and Ron Jeremy. My kid was so pissed at me. He was like, "That is so disgusting. How
I
could
didn't
you
know
even?"
he was so bad. I
Oh,
had
he's
no
horrible.
idea.
I literally wanted to take a shower. He's just the sleaziest person that ever existed.
Yeah, and I had no idea. He's like starts making out with me, and I was like wasted, and he like
Oh
doesn't
God,
drink.
no! Don't even tell me.
No,
I'm gonna have to.
like I
I'm gonna
ran
have
away.
to.
Like I ran away.
I'm gonna have to
I said, I
completely
gotta
recreate my image of you now, knowing that
Oh,
you made
shut
out
your
with me.
ass up. You have no idea.
I met.
Well,
You
you're
should've
right.
seen me when I was in
You're
the
right.
hood.
Oh my God.
I'm just
I met
kidding.
Ron Jeremy at the library over in Omaha.
He can't
No,
read.
No, I mean it's not Ron Jeremy. He's just like a guy named Ron Jeremy, like
Oh.
an insurance agent.
Oh, the other Ron Jeremy.
Yeah,
The Omaha Ron Jeremy.
yeah. No, Ron Jeremy is as sleazy as he looks. One of those people that matches their.
Yeah, no, he's just like, it was insane.
I don't even know who
I
that
thought it
is.
would be
He
funny to
doesn't
get a
even
selfie with
drink.
him.
Good. Don't look
He
him up.
said, I
No.
made
No,
liquor.
don't.
I won't. It's
I got-
okay.
I should have been involved in that lawsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck no. I would have never.
He was the cringiest, creepiest, ugliest male porn star that ever existed.
He was a horrible person.
Ew, gross.
He thought he
Yeah.
was gonna get rich with
That's
his new
gross.
liquor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if a hemorrhoid was a person.
I'll show the pictures to you guys how weird it is. Of me and him. We
Oh
weren't
my
banging.
God.
He's saying his shirt said boom, boom, click, like that song. Boom, boom, click.
No, it's click, click, boom.
Whatever the fuck, man.
Boom, boom, click.
And he had like on sweatpants and he like just looked like he like walked down the street, like just like I'm in Vegas, sober. And I'm like,
no.
I'm 20 and I like all like colored hair. I met him in the bar. I said, "Are you Ron Jeremy?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "You look
Man,
like
we're
him."
so close to ending this, and now Ron Jeremy is.
This is
Oh
a really,
my God.
the chat. This is a
I've
really
had
funny
weird
crowd.
situations in my life that I've never told I've not told a lot of people about. Like, I've had some weird shit happen.
Yeah,
I think there's people out there that
You're
are
a
still waiting
wild
for this
woman.
to become anti-SPTV. They're going to have a long wait.
Anti-SPT. You know what, you guys? Y'all can be oh wait, you mean they want to be anti?
Yeah, they're waiting. There's some people out there, I'm sure, that are going like, when are they going to start banging on SPTV so that I can?
Oh, we're not.
Yeah, I know they're going to have a long wait because that's not what we're here for.
That's not what we're here for.
Yeah,
And
right.
I don't know Jeffrey Augustine. I don't really give a fuck about him, to be honest, because I don't know who he is.
Jeffrey Augustine has been working on helping to bring down Scientology for years. So I don't.
That's all I know, though. That's what I
bad to
mean.
say about him particularly.
I don't know. I've never seen him. Like, I've never seen a real picture. Like,
Oh, really?
like one picture. Yeah, I just don't know him.
Look, he looks a little like Ron Jeremy.
No, no.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I was
Well,
like,
maybe
No,
the
he
side- the
doesn't. He doesn't.
sideburns, the
Jeffrey, if you're
sideburns.
watching, I'm sorry.
No, that wasn't the sideburns. Probably is what you're talking about, right? Yes, bitch, the sideburns.
Jeffrey Augustine is more of a porn star name than Ron Jeremy is.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Yeah, no, Ron Jeremy is proof that Jewish boys do not make good porn stars. They just
Oh my God.
they're lawyers,
No
doctors. Yeah.
comment on that.
Yeah.
Okay. On
Who
that
wants-
note,
Okay, so I guess I'm gonna go dirty. By
I can
myself
say
for
that.
this
My,
one.
I'm from my background is Jewish, so I can say
Oh,
that.
no.
oh, okay, good.
That's
Okay,
not a
good.
racist statement.
No,
I mean,
no,
that-
I didn't think it
Wait,
was. I
wasn't
just-
racist. What was it?
I
yeah, it
just-
wasn't an
I had to look
anti-Semitic
up,
statement at
to
all.
bring it up.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
I
It's
had to
like
go.
I didn't think you were being
okay,
anti-Semitic.
good. Thank you.
You being racist?
I mean, he used to like
I'm just.
he used to like bang girls. He'd like wear a Star of David. It was just disgusting.
Oh
That's
my
not
God.
boy.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Don. Jeffrey Augustine was never in Scientology. His wife was for many years.
No, he was in Scientology, just not for
Jeffrey
very long.
Augustine? No, he
Yeah,
was
he
never
was.
a Scientologist.
Yeah, he was.
You know
He
what's so
was.
weird to
When?
me?
I don't remember the exact thing, but he was,
people?
Jeffrey was in Scientology about 15 minutes, but it doesn't matter if he was in or
fine.
not. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah,
wait, can I ask Mitch? Raymond's really nice. He's new to the big. He is my 25 a month member, so he's my top dog, Diggy dog, right? Raymond, BFF. He said, "Can I ask Mitch what he perceives as Aaron's issue with him?"
Absolutely, you can ask.
Oh, with you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Me. Yeah, you can ask. I have no idea. No.
I don't think
it is the weirdest thing.
Even before all the drama started.
Yeah, like the first time I went on his show and he invited me on his show, I was like under the radar. I was writing a book and I was talking to him and I was saying, hey, I fed him a lot of information because, I had left the base recently. I mean, Catherine was also talking with him and he was perfectly cordial and nice with me and like was, my best friend and like, can I call you and ask you questions? And I said, yeah, sure. So I fed him, gave him all kinds of stuff. We planned on doing content together. And then he said, you shouldn't wait until because I was going to release a book and start a channel all at once, like a big splash. Because to me, my marketing sense says that that's a good idea. But he's like, no, you should build up an audience. Like people should know who you are before you release your book. So I went on, and the first time I went on, he was so rude to me that his audience criticized him. They said, hey, dude, this guy's newly out. Why are you banging on him? So then he contacted me like an hour later and said, hey, I was just in a bad mood. I'm sorry. Let's go on again. And I said, yeah, you and I let's go on and tell them we were just kidding around. Like I was even trying to give him an out for his own bullying. And that one was a little better and people like it. And then after that, he just started being critical of me and I couldn't understand. And then it came to a head when he was on with Rachel Hastings and I just happened to be catching it. And my name came up because Rachel and we were close friends when she was in the Sea Org. I've known her as long as she was in the Sea Org and we worked together. And this whole idea about, I have a little bit of perspective than Aaron on David Miscavige and on very different. Like I was the one who told Aaron, I said, look, David Miscavige does not consider himself even a Sea Org member. He's like the president of the United States. He's the commander in chief. He's not in the military. He's like, he doesn't like staff. He disdains staff. There's like 4 people that he likes, his girlfriend, Lou, his best friend, Tom, and maybe 2 other people that he likes. Everybody else he hates. And so I think I don't know. So then Rachel was kind of saying, well, maybe Mitch has a different perspective because he knew Dave and Dave considered him a friend. And he said, no. His perspective is completely invalid because he was never in the Sea Org. And
that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
I know, but he started making this big deal about, he made money and he was never in the Sea Org and he just kept. And so then, my channel was doing really well and then it just crashed. So
for all intents and purposes, Mitch was in the Sea Org, like where he was working for so many years.
I had senior people in the Sea Org screaming at me saying, you're a Sea Org member.
But that's what I'm saying. Aaron used that slightly.
Yeah. But I have empathy for Aaron because he's carrying a lot of unprocessed trauma around. I don't really like saying that publicly. I'm actually, it's not the right thing to say to people to shame them for their trauma. But, it's like, I can't really, it hurt me financially because my channel was taking off and I was starting to make some money on YouTube and I needed the money. And then it just completely crashed because, when you have that big of a platform and that big of a voice, and he has an overwhelmingly large influence.
We have to stop saying that though, for real.
What?
Not what I'm not saying, but what you're saying. I'm just saying I keep hearing it every day of everybody saying like, not what you just said, but people will say that don't really know him that. But he's the biggest person in Scientology and this in person and the whole thing. And then they're talking it like talking him up. And it's like, no, he's not.
No, I say Leah
Remini. No fucking shit.
Yeah, I mean, he's.
I didn't mean it against you. I mean it against
but I mean, he did. Yeah, I mean, he did create. He is responsible for really blowing up the anti-Scientology presence on YouTube. I mean, he did do that.
But who did
he? The point is those things they have to go in phases. The first phase is you build it, you get big. And then once you get big, you got to really do something with it. And what has happened at that point has been kind of rather negative. A lot of people are not interested in the anti-Scientology movement anymore. I mean, I was in talks with
too many people are doing it.
Yeah, I was in talks with a showrunner, a producer, a documentary producer who's done a lot of work for BBC, and we were talking, and they were very interested in producing the next thing after the Aftermath show, and we were talking a lot.
Just Netflix?
Sorry?
Did you say Netflix?
Did I say Netflix?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
This would have been BBC or Channel 4 or something.
Okay, never mind. I'm sorry.
And then I get a text. Then when this whole SBTV thing started blowing up, and Erin started being really obviously being a bully, she sent me a text on WhatsApp and was like, I'm not even interested in this anymore. She had a proposal ready to go for a show, and she bailed out because this whole thing became so ugly. So it's done a lot of damage to the movement.
Erin was supposed to be on a Netflix show that was supposed to be secret and nobody was supposed to know. Some girl they coerced this was last year and nobody knows this. I think I told like one person. He's supposed to be on a Netflix show, but nobody is supposed to know because Claire and I think Val Haney, don't quote me for sure. Claire, all the people from the SCOBY, the husband, the whole Aftermath people are going to be on it. And that was like right when the thing was open. But he said he heard them talking about it, or someone heard them talking about it secretly and being like, oh yeah, that secret trip to California. So I don't know if he's imagining things, but then he said he was about to out them all on Reddit, on a fake Reddit, and say, hey, why is they're all doing this fake Scientology show? Why didn't they tell Erin about it? But then what he did was he kind of blackmailed the guy that was like the producer. The producer didn't like Erin. That's why he wasn't invited on the Netflix special.
Yeah, I mean, I just have to tell you, Lindsay, I'm dubious the whole thing. To me, that sounds like a story somebody would make up to make themselves look good. Oh yeah, I was hated by the Netflix guy. I'm upset. I'm dubious the whole thing because I'm kind of tracking with what Netflix is doing.
He wants to look good by everybody,
I guess, but I don't want.
I don't really care. I'm just
telling you. Look, my story is not going to be about how I had this
not
conflict
your story
with Erin Smith Levin. I don't even like talking about it because it's just.
You were.
Yeah, I know, but I started to, and I don't want to do it.
Well, don't do it.
Okay.
I just want to say that Erin's early content helped me get out of Scientology.
Yeah, absolutely.
He personally helped me get out of the Sea Org. So when this whole thing blew up with the Aftermath and everything and all the drama and whatever, I was so upset because I'm like, okay, I guess we can't be friends anymore. And like, we had a really nasty conversation on Facebook and then on text.
And it wasn't your fault.
I'm like, yeah, I know. It's just sad because he's done a lot that has helped people. And now it's just turned into this big monster drama channel or something. I don't know. It's just,
it's.
He used to help a lot of people. I really looked up to him. I thought he was a hero. I was really proud of him. He was my babe. Like I was like, wow, what a good person,
Yeah.
Look at all these people he's helping. And so I still have a cognitive dissonance there. And so people get mad at me for that, but I can't just ignore how much good he's done too.
No, I don't think nobody's ignoring it, but
I know.
It's like, look at Synanon. Getting back to Synanon, it started out incredibly helpful and it ended up incredibly destructive.
Yeah.
And sometimes there is some DNA deeply within a person or an organization that creates this arc where they end up just burning out and flaming out. And, sometimes there's circumstances, like accelerating circumstances like drugs are involved or whatever else. But I wish him luck. I wish all those people luck. I don't know why I get so much hate. The most recent one, this kid, one of the quote unquote protesters, and I say quote unquote because I think they're more streamers than protesters.
I want to know his name. I'm just curious.
I'm confident, Chris. Alex Barnes Ross and I were Alex. He was in town and he asked me if I would take a walk around the complex with him and just let him interview me. And
in LA.
Yeah, in LA. So we did this walk around the complex and we ran into this kid, Confident Chris. I don't know who he is. I know some of the other ones. I know
I've heard of the name.
Yeah, I know Chris Without a Hellcat because he interviewed me and I know them by sight. I didn't know who they were. I thought they were a couple of kids there on the sidewalk with a bicycle with a phone attached to the handlebars, and we're trying to get the shot. And I'm like, I've got the guy with the camera. I've got him by the shoulders and I'm guiding him down the sidewalk so he doesn't trip. And so I asked these kids, hey, would you mind stepping aside so we can get the shot? And they streamed that live.
Yeah, I saw that.
They streamed it live and they're like, you're the rudest motherfucker in the world.
I heard about that somewhere.
Yeah. And it was on Twitter. It was on Instagram. It was on YouTube. Like and it was insane because it's like, the one person who didn't report any weird, all Confident Chris said was, hey, I ran into Alex and Mitch at the complex. He never said, and the guy was rude to me. Nobody said that, but then
other people just jump on.
Well,
and
it's probably OSA. I mean, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but they got people watching that stuff, and one of them types said, "Oh, he's a rude motherfucker," and then everybody else is like, "Well, Aaron said we're not supposed to like him." Nora says he's a complete piece of shit.
They're probably so high. They probably have no fucking idea. They're probably just being.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, it's just. I was just.
You gotta go.
Yeah, just continue on. I'm just gonna
All right. I was just about to text you and say, "Go."
I was just gonna fade into the background now.
All right, love you, dude.
Continue on.
Very nice meeting you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, definitely. Really nice meeting you. Here we are.
He's a great guy.
I'm actually gonna go.
A lot of people online that I interviewed. Huh?
I'm gonna go. I'm really hungry.
Okay,
yeah, me too.
I'm really tired too. I love you guys. Thank you for coming on. Let's do this.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Yeah, we'll do something soon.
No, thank you. Please,
and everybody tune in tomorrow. Go to my channel. I'm going to read another chapter of my book. You're going to dig it.
Okay, what time? Well, I'll see.
6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
Okay, and then think of something next we're going to do.
I have it already. I just need to talk to you about it. I have an incredible idea.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll go over it with you
in the morning when my brain is.
Yeah. We'll talk tomorrow.
All right, cool. I might do.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Love you guys. Love you, Mitch.
Likewise. Yeah. Mine's not working. My effects are not working.
Well, my life doesn't work either.
Okay, let's take us out.
Let's do it, baby.